So I was so used to putting everybody else first, making sure everybody else was happy, and I would get what was left over. And mostly what was left over was nothing.
Adequate. I was having some health issues. I had some legal issues. I had some things going on.
When you work in a salon and you own a salon or your own space, it's a bubble. It becomes a bubble, and it does get lonely.
People didn't like that. They was like, oh, she is an opportunist. And I'm like, no, I'm just being intentional.
Business is one thing. Creativity and technique is something totally different.
Yeah, because I was in the shop for 12 hours straight. No appointments. 15 people waiting.
Yep.
Just going. And I said, no, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Not having boundaries in place, not having policies in place, it leads to burnout.
You get a job. You get handing them out.
Yes, it was amazing. It was so good that it almost felt selfish to be able to bring people on, put them on, show them the ropes, and watch them just continue to go. It was everything to me.
Well, welcome in, everyone. This podcast is especially for you. If you are super talented at what you do, you're a beauty professional, a barber, a hairstylist, a makeup artist, but you don't know how long you can keep doing it. Why? Because you might be burnt out. You're facing some challenges. It's not as easy as it looks. Your Instagram feed is popping, but the truth is, when you leave that shop, we know your feet hurt. We know how hard it is. It's very difficult. So this podcast today is brought to you by Lead Like an Artist. And here at Lead Like an Artist, we've come together because we suffered some of the same challenges that are faced in the industry today. Those challenges are making not enough money, spending way too much time, taking time away from our family, our friends, sometimes even shelving dreams that we have. So this podcast today is for you. If you've ever felt exhausted, if you don't have all the answers and you're not sure what your exit plan is, where you're going, where this highway is taking you, well, listen in, you're in for a treat. So today I am with my not only business partners, but my sisters. And I'm really excited to get into a conversation. And we're going to document this today. We're going to get on camera here on our podcast at the Braid Mill, one of our infamous locations for Beauty Pros Education. But I have with me Quiana Harris and Michelle-Nichole. So this is a safe space, right? Don't judge us, guys. Just listen in. So in this safe space, we're going to talk about what our careers have been like. And maybe we can kind of go right to you, Michelle. You know, many people may not be familiar with you. Quiana and I were both fans of you before we got to know you so well. So could you just tell the audience who you are, what your journey has been like in this industry?
Oh, thank you, Hassan. So I'm Michelle-Nichole. I have been in the industry for 25 years now. I started literally right out of high school, went to hair school, fast tracked to a hair salon, worked with some amazing stylists. I think that was one of the best things I could have done was work with stylists who were already seasoned in the game. So they gave me my stripes right away. Yeah. So I worked with them, and about 5 years in, that's when I opened my salon. The salon I was in was closing, and I needed another space to be in. I went job hunting, and I could not find a space that I wanted to take my clients to. So if it doesn't exist, what do? You kind of create it, fixing the problem. So I opened my salon about 10 years into having a salon. I got a little sick and tired of just doing a blow dry and curl every day.
Been there.
Yeah. And one of the things that I always said was, because I'd seen people in front of me do it all the time, just leave the industry, go and pick up a 9 to 5. It's like, what am I going to do? I have to get a 9 to 5. And I always said that I didn't want that to be me. So I had to figure that out. And there was a casting for Philly Fashion Week. So I remember doing that. I went, I showed up, We were backstage. The hairstyles were changing. Like, the girls were about to walk. They're lined up to walk out. The lead artist said, "We're changing the look right now." That was the best feeling ever. When I went back to the salon, I was like, come on, y'all, let's go. I had all my fire back. So I knew that that was the world I needed to step into because it gave me all of my fuel back. So next thing I knew, because Fashion Week comes around twice a year, another lead came in, Kia Sterling. I worked under her, and she ended up hiring me as her lead assistant. So I learned a lot about leadership. Yes, I had a salon for about 10 years. I had girls coming and going. But at this time, I was thrown into leadership. So I stayed on with her for about 7 seasons. And
That's a flex. Y'all hear that? 7 seasons, lead assistant. What was the team like? Did you work with a lot of people through that process as an assistant?
a lot. Different hairstylists, different salon owners, really making a lot of connections. I think that was my biggest, outside of leadership, my biggest takeaway was the connections that I was able to make during Philly Fashion Week. Because in the salon, when you work in a salon and you own a salon or your own space, it's a bubble. It becomes a bubble, and it does get lonely. So being able to step outside of your comfort zone was everything for me. So from there, I was able to start working in New York for Fashion Week, making more connections. And one of my connections led to my own team in New York. I had a partner there, and that was one of my biggest dreams, was to be able to, because I've been working in New York for a couple of years, and I'm like, soon as I get the opportunity, y'all, I'm bringing y'all to New York. You guys are going to love it. So I called, soon as I got my team, I called all my girls, like, girl, y'all coming? They were all, we all were on a bus together on our way to New York every Fashion Week, a week straight, show after show. It was really good. Our roster got up to 200 makeup and hair artists. Wow. My job was recruiting. My partner was in charge of pulling together the productions and everything.
You get a job. You was handing them out.
Yes, it was amazing. I loved, it was something different in that mode. It was a different way of pouring into yourself, was pouring into others. It was a treat. It was so good that it almost felt selfish to be able to bring people on, put them on, show them the ropes, and watch them just continue to go. It was everything to me.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, that's a great experience.
It was.
Yeah. It's great, and it's hard to know that from afar. You see little glimpses, and Our careers kind of go back around the same time period. A lot of things weren't as visual as they are now. It's a lot of posting and people show you where they're at and what they're doing, but those platforms didn't really have the greatest amount of exposure, but you definitely were working hard and rubbing shoulders with a lot of people. Yeah.
We were able to travel. Our team traveled all over.
What's the furthest that you've been traveling?
Oh, the furthest, I actually did a photo shoot in Tokyo.
Wow.
It was really cool. I had a connection or a network out there, reached out. I just reached out. I did not think they would say yes. I reached out to a photographer out there. She happened to speak English. And she was game. I said, let's do a shoot. I'm going to be in Tokyo for a bit. She said yes. She helped gather a team. Everyone was from all over the world. Yeah. And it got published in Great Britain or something like that. It was a really cool shoot.
I didn't even know that. Did you know that?
I did.
She full of secrets, y'all, all the time.
Oh, cracking up. After a few years in Fashion Week, I returned my focus back to the salon. Back to the salon. And this year, we are celebrating 20 years in business.
Oh, congratulations. That's great.
You.
That's so good. That's so good.
Thank you. I know you had a unique journey to get you to where you are today. Why don't you share that with us today?
Well, I mean, when you're as old as I am in the industry, you're going to have some experiences. So let me tell you a little bit about Yeah, so I kind of, I jumped right out of high school. I was 17 years old, super passionate. Got into a shop, my first shop. I was there for about 3.5 years. And I went into business for myself in 1999. So it's been quite a ride as an entrepreneur. But in my first 3 years in the barber industry, I was just like super passionate about cutting hair. Competitions. I went from getting out of barber school to consistently having an 8 to 9 head wait every day of the week. I worked 6 days a week. I was in the uptown area, cutting hair on Ogontz Avenue, and things took off really, really quickly. So my ambition and passion for the industry just led me into like competitions and showcases. And I had some not so good experiences with it. Like, I won some events and some showcases and received death threats and got my people threatened to slash my face at the next event if I showed up. So needless to say, I quickly changed gears. And it wasn't because I was afraid of like conflict. It just was like kind of, it took the wind out of my sails. It's like, if I'm passionate about this and this is my industry and I'm sharing it with my peers, but I can't enjoy that, then what's the point? So I stopped like competitive barbering and stopped going to all the trade shows and all the events. And I just really doubled down on business. And I opened up my first shop in 1999. And I had 2 great business partners who were also barbers. Lee, Eric, and then my brother Brandon also joined us. And we really made a great name for ourselves. They were 3 awesome barbers to work along with me. The 4 of us, we felt like we cut pretty much like the region. Like there was so many great connections that we made, and we just did really well. And 6 years we were in business there. And during that time period, I was able to make some industry connections. So I was able to do some celebrity work, barbering for magazines like Essence and Vibe Magazine, 106 and Park. I was able to travel, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York. Unfortunately, the people that I was working for are kind of infamous now.
Right.
They might be in prison. They might be, multi-platinum artists. It's just tough. Like my resume it's a great resume, but I can't even boast about it anymore because these guys are infamous. But some multi-award winning R&B artists who have had a lot of success. I was their head barber, stylist, and I would be on the road and set them up with an awesome braider, and we would travel and just had a great time. And even later in years, full circle, there's another person who is like everybody's TV dad, who came, to my business, patronized my business at one point in time. And I can't even talk about those guys anymore. It's sad, but I'm still here and I work with some great people along the way. Had some really, really good experiences. And I think one of the jewels of my experience in the industry has been education and teaching. So in 2006, I relocated as a sole proprietor, built a team of about 7 to 10 barbers and stylists in Northeast Philadelphia. And we had like an 18-year run there. Great shop, a lot of great energy, really well-known barbers, well-known stylists. We fed a lot of families, took care of the community. And during that time period, I was able to educate and travel again for education, going as far away as to UK and to Europe, teaching on stages with some of the greatest, barbers, in my opinion, barbers and stylists. Like you, Michelle, I was just like collecting contacts and just trying to network with as many people as I could. And I had the chance to work with some major brands. One brand that I work for in particular, they own over 70 different product lines. And I was a head barber educator for them at that, which was like, I would have never expected it. But I had a chance to do that. It was a really, really great experience and just met some amazing people. And it really shapes and molds you. So now at this point, in this portion of my journey, now I'm in my own studio. I have my own space and located in Northwest Philadelphia. And I've kind of just turned all my attention back to my clients who've been there with me through all the journey. They've been patient, kind, understanding. They've traveled. They went with me. I had business ventures in Center City. A lot of people are familiar with that business that I work for downtown. We really pushed the envelope on what men's grooming is and expectations of it is. Pushed the envelope into an experience. And this was prior to it becoming a trend where people were doing that. So we were really on a cutting edge of, barbering for men and changing what people's expectations are. So I feel like I've perfected that now. My guys come in, they're spoiled. We're all spoiled. It's just one by one each service. Guys come in, they get whiskey, coffee, tea with their service. They get a 1 hour session. We do a lot of therapy and then a lot of hair cutting too. And it's been great. So it's been a really full circle. It's funny, Michelle, really quickly. I knew Michelle, but we actually shared some really well-known clients, a husband and wife who are producers in the industry, and they got married out of state. And the first time we worked together was
in Disney World.
Yeah, Disney World. All right, so Quiana, over there quietly, patiently waiting. So you've had a really interesting experience in the industry too. I found out some things about it. I didn't know. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but you want to tell us about your journey?
I've been in the industry about 25 years as a stylist, but about 15 years as a beauty consultant. So started out, I worked at a amazing salon owned by a husband and a wife. It was all family. So a husband and wife, a daughter, a son, a cousin. So I was like the only one that wasn't blood, but you can't even tell. Like still to this day, people are like, are you related to them? I'm like, yeah, kind of. And they just did really good teaching me the ropes. The business acumen there was like amazing. But I went to hair school in high school, and my teacher was set on us getting into a salon. She was like, I can't teach you what you need to know here. And I went to work in a salon. I had only been in hair school maybe 2 months. And the salon I worked at, they were really, really good at cutting, and they were really good at color. So when I would go back to hair school and take my test, she would always think I was cheating on my test. I'm like, no, you told me that we would be advanced at these things. So that was a really good experience. So I worked there for about 11 years. And then after I did that, the family that I worked for, they were set on me going to college. They were like, we want you to have options. And I'm like, I don't need options. I want to do hair. So they literally made me go to school. So I went to school. I got my degree in English, and I taught for a while. So I was an English teacher. I taught 9th grade English and 8th grade English. And it was amazing, but it just didn't fuel me. So I did that for a couple years, and my father wanted me to go to college as well. So I wanted to do that for my father. I wanted to do that for my mentors. I did that for a while, and then I went back to the salon and started doing hair. And I did that. I went to another salon. It was amazing. I worked under a young lady who had worked in her mother's salon for about probably 15 years. And then she opened up her own salon. So it still had that family vibe. So she was, again, like a big sister to me. During that time, couple of my friends were having a barber event, and they were like, we need some help with the paperwork. And I'm like, you guys do. And I just started putting together some things on paper for them, just getting the show a little organized, me and one of my friends. And the show wound up being a really big success. We had a show, it was called Barber Wars, down at the airport at the Marriott. And we had about 300 guests, and we had about 50 barbers competing, and it wound up being a different, bigger turnout than we expected. And people were coming up to us, and they were like, what is it that you girls do? And we're like, I don't know. So after that, people were coming to us, barbers were coming to us, and was like, the show was so well organized. And a barber came to us, and he said, I brought my publicist with me. I just want to have a conversation with you. So we had a conversation with him and his publicist. And then we left, and we had meeting after meeting with different barbers. And then the barbers would say, what is it that you do? And I said, I'm a publicist. And I went on with it.
You just took the title.
I was like, I'm a publicist. And I went on with that for a while. And I would get a lot of requests, and I would do a lot of work for barbers. So I would go around to these barber shows, and I was like, the barbers in Philly are always being tapped for music videos, always being tapped for movies, always being tapped for things, because the precision of East Coast barbers, specifically Philadelphia, New Jersey, Delaware barbers, is like almost like unmatched. And I seen that the skill was there, but they didn't have the admin. So I started like reading contracts and going over contracts. And I'm like, y'all not getting paid enough. This is not enough money. You taking off a day of work for $300? That don't make sense. And I started negotiating their contracts, and they started letting me, and I started making them thousands of dollars. So from that, it got really interesting because I started to be really strategic about where I went and the events that I went to. People didn't like that. They was like, oh, she is an opportunist. And I'm like, no, I'm just being intentional. I had 2 young children. Barber events are on Sunday nights. My kids have to get up on Monday morning. I need to be intentional about where I go, where I spend my time. I just stayed at it. And I was like, you know, I'm only going to go to events where I know that the barbers are serious. And that's what I did. And from there, I gained amazing relationships. So I've worked with some of the best barbers in the city still to this day. I work with Fahim Alexander. Because of him, I've worked with tons of companies. I've been in partnership with Gillette, be 8 years. We've worked with Target. He's in the union. We've been to the BET Awards. We've been just so much. So and not just because of Fahim, also just because of my connections to the barber industry has just enhanced my career so much.
Yeah, shout out to Fahim Alexander. He's an amazing guy. And it's so funny because when you were, I guess I didn't know you at the time, but I knew that there were barbers, plural, in the city doing some really big things. And as a barber, I perked up. I took notice. I'm like, wait a second. He's doing what? He's weird? And I'm like, yo, how are they doing all this? And I secretly was like, yo, I got to work harder. I'm not doing it right. Like something wrong going on. And come to find out, Quiana was behind the scenes assisting some guys along the way in their journeys.
Yep. So it was interesting. And then, you know, so during COVID, I was like, okay, I'm a class taker. Like I'm a really big class taker. So I took a one-on-one publicist course. So I took a one-on-one publicist course with a publicist who also was, she had curated this really interesting beauty supply store. It was beautiful. So we're in the course. And she was like, your problem is that you're not a publicist. You're a business consultant. And she was like, that's your bread and butter. And I was like, I was just taken away. I was like, she was like, when you realize that you're not a publicist and that you're a business consultant, you'll be okay. So I took a couple days and I said, okay, I'm going to step into it. And literally my business took off like within like a couple weeks. And I just started, I'm like, I know what I'm talking about. I had been around so many barbers who had good structure. And another thing that I was afraid of is I was afraid to work with women. I was afraid to work with hairstylists. But once she told me what I was, I said, okay, I'm going to take everything I learned from the barbers and I'm going to work with stylists. And I think shortly after that, I reached out to Michelle. And from there, I just started doing shoots. So working with brands, I realized that beauty professionals, we are so excited about doing photo shoots, but we didn't really run campaigns. That was not really something that we did. We would do a photo shoot, but we didn't run campaigns. And then another thing I realized is that everybody was coming out with beauty products. Beyonce, Taraji P. Henson, Tracee Ellis Ross. But we are the ones who do the hair. We know hair, but we weren't coming out with products. So I wanted to work with beauty professionals who not just wanted to have photo shoots, but wanted to run campaigns for their products, who wanted to run campaigns for things that we knew would be healthy for the hair. So that's what I started doing. So my thing that kept me in the industry was connections. Real relationships. And I started to build relationships with people who wanted to be intentional, who also valued good business.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great story. It really is.
Yeah,
And, I'm definitely privileged to be working along with you guys and call you my partners. Quick backstory point. When we started having some conversations, we each knew that we brought unique value as individuals. Like our journeys overlap. And because of the overlap, we automatically started seeing some potential there. But before I get ahead of myself, because it all sounds good sitting up here, all the great experiences and things like that, but the industry that we're a part of, there's some unspoken tensions, some challenges, some things that are happening. And I know that you guys have faced that. Quiana, Well, when did you start noticing that although you were having a lot of success working with these brands, working with barbers, consulting, there was also some things that were a challenge for you?
You hit me with that question. I'm not gonna lie. So I really felt inadequate, to be honest. Like I told you, I came from a salon where they did short hair and color. And I love doing short hair and I love doing color. And I just didn't know, honestly, how I was going to stand out here. Like, Philadelphia is so artistically inclined. Everybody can sing. Everybody can rap. One of my close hair friends, he always says, Carl J, he always said, you can go into any Philly salon and get a good silk press. And it's so true. So I'm like, okay, what can I do to stay connected? So not only did I feel inadequate, I was having some health issues. I had some legal issues. I had some things going on that kept me out of the salon. And I wanted to stay connected to the beauty industry. And I think I was like, okay, what can I do to make me stand out? So not only just working with the guys, I think I loved putting people first. I loved, because you know how you sit and you have a conversation and you give somebody your vision and they like, oh, your little idea, your little plan. And I'm like, no, that's a big idea. That's a big plan. That's a big deal. So I wanted to like pour into people. I wanted to connect to people. So I started these meetings called the Blueprint. And if you had an idea, I would sit with you. I would meet you at a coffee house and we would go over and break down your idea from A to Z. And I'm like, come on, let's do it. I'm going to be your partner. I'm going to be there. And I would get in the mud with the person and I would say, come on, let's build it. And people thought it was so crazy that I would leave the salon and go meet with other hairdressers to help them build their brand. But I'm like, why not? This is dope. She's dope. I like the way she thinks. I like the way her stuff looks. I think the product is amazing. So me feeling inadequate, I was able to build myself back up by working with other women that I thought were amazing.
Wow, that's awesome. And yeah, that's big of you, you know, to be unselfish and to put your dreams, you know, what you were feeling strongly about, you put it to the fore, and that's really good. Yeah. Michelle, you might have had a similar experience. Did you start, you know, you got the peak of your journey, your travels?
You know what's so interesting is that when Quiana was telling her story, I'm like, yeah, she helped me. Like, she definitely did. She called me up. She did a blueprint with me. This was years ago. But yeah, no, I definitely ran into a lot of just situations. So I'm 10 years into my business. I did Fashion Week, worked running all over, doing everything, okay? Like everything, until I was burnt out. I had tendonitis in my shoulder. We hit in every show. It looked amazing. The photos were great. Backstage, the connections, all of those were great. But it broke me down. I was tired. My body was hurting. And I had some tension with my partner, and I just was like, you know what? It's just not for me anymore. I need to focus on my business. I remember my team was just like, you just left us. So I turned my attention back to my business. It was one of the best things I could do at the time. But I remember looking around and seeing, I can't think of her name, but I saw this one young lady. She had a product and she made $1 million on Black Friday. And I said, my salon is not going to do that physically. I know that we can't hit these kind of numbers. So I'm like, how do I scale? How do I take myself, my business, who I am, and scale it? I do not know. I created a product, silk product. I wanted to create something that wasn't, that just wasn't frequently created by everyone. Everyone had like oils and things, just, you know, it makes sense. But I wanted to take it a step further. It was COVID. My clients weren't able to come to the salon. And I wanted to create something that they could would make sure that they kept their hair on their heads while I couldn't get to them. So I did start working on that, but I never made $1 million on a Black Friday. So I knew that I needed to do more work. So scaling was a foreign word to me, to a lot of people. And when I started to try to figure out how to get there, I felt like there was no blueprint. Like there was no way. I did not know. I took, even for my wedding business, I wanted to do better with that and just kind of get systems in place. And when I searched online or wherever, I couldn't find a soul that could teach me how to do these things better. They focused on the beauty industry. That was one of the hardest things I ever experienced. That's why I said Quiana was able to help me. We put a campaign together. She put my campaign together because I wanted to do something like on top of a mountain with soap flowing. And she was like, girl, we just need a girl getting out the bed with a scarf on. I'm like, what are you doing? So she was able to help ground me. And we did some great things. We definitely did some great things. But I think scaling was one of the hardest things because there was no blueprint at all.
Yeah. That's interesting. And that's true because you could take business courses and business classes and you can look into all of these different things, read all of the books, but a lot of times there's no one to translate it practically for our industry.
Yeah, I ended up going, so for like my wedding course, my wedding business, I ended up taking a makeup artist course. And I'm like, I need to translate this. Like I would just always try to translate things for me, but it was just like a lot more brain work. It's like, why can't it just be easier?
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. Yeah. You know, I had a similar experience, you know, from the outside looking in, it was great. You know, people be like, oh, you doing all these wonderful things. You traveling, you over there, you cutting his hair. And I'm like, yeah, but I work for a jerk. You know, he's not cool. And then I would come back home and I would get behind the barber chair. And like literally, no matter how early I would get to work on certain days, clients would beat me. You know, I would start at 9 a.m., 8 a.m., 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 5 a.m. People would be there. So I was like really, really burnt out. And it was hard to balance my work life and my family life. You know, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm raising my children. I have a spiritual routine I'm trying to keep up with, and business was just really crowding the space. And although successful, like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I went through a challenge and other business owners can probably relate. I poured so much into my business that I lost my identity. And what I mean is, like I had the business, the shop was called DeMarco's Hair Artistry. And although, my name is incorporated in there, I was the last chair in the back. I was funneling as many clients as I could to the people that were coming in. You know, you're a manager, you're an owner, you're a coach, you're a therapist, you're a counselor, you're an accountant. Like you're doing all of these
All
things.
the hats.
So many hats. So I'm doing all of this. And I'm coming home with nothing left in the tank. So then I jumped into education. And it was like for education, the same thing happened. They'll go here, teach here, do this, do that. They're throwing you in the fire everywhere that you go. Very little support, very little help. And you just in the land of just go figure it out. So then I came home and I put that to the side and I picked up like Quiana, this is where we overlap. I started consulting for business owners too. People who were barbers, barbershop owners who they would see my success and say, hey, could you help me, coach me? And I didn't know what I was doing, but I just agreed. In one business in particular, I took on a partner and we had some great financing and I went and just kind of poured in my skill set. I poured in my knowledge, my insight into the industry and the partnership. I was carrying the load of the profession. So they weren't from the beauty industry. So when that partnership ended and the business dissolved and things were done and over, I felt like I had poured so much into it, I didn't know who I was anymore. And it was really difficult to try to create and move on and still be creative and still be all the things that I needed to be, where I honestly just felt burnt out. I didn't feel appreciated and I didn't really feel understood there. And the same thing happened so I'm imagine this scenario, right? I partner with the business in Center City that I'm working a couple of days a week at, 2 or 3 days a week. And then 2 or 3 days a week, I'm still going back to manage, run, and operate my own business. Then I went full time in Center City, managing, running a shop, while still remotely trying to manage and run a team of 8 barbers. So in that mix, like I didn't know which way was up. So I just was trying to figure it out. And I tried so many different things. And at the end of the day, it completely just left me burnt out.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how to put it back together. My poor wife had to try to fix me and put me back together. Like my family suffered because of that. And it was just, I wasn't balanced. And so what I had to do was, like you, Michelle, figure out ways to scale or grow in a healthy way that put me first. Because I realized that I'm the engine for this business. If the engine doesn't work, the car doesn't run. So I had to do an about face. I was so used to putting everybody else first, making sure everybody else was happy, and I would get what was left over. And mostly what was left over was nothing, you know? So I wasn't filling my own tank. So how can you pour into others? I couldn't do anything anymore. So now I'm in a great space because I found that balance, and I've been able to pour back into myself first, putting my family first, putting my spirituality first, and doing those things. And now I have something to give. And it was really hard to do that, but yeah. So, you know, full disclosure, guys, this is what has brought us together as a team. All right. So those challenges that we spoke about, they're not unique to just Michelle, Quiana, and myself. It's really a pain point that the industry is very familiar with. So I'm happy and proud to have with me 2 really awesome stylists from here in Philadelphia area. Jamez, who is not only a stylist, he's an owner as well as an educator with over 25 years experience. And Ty, who is also not just with 10 years experience as a stylist, but she's also an educator for the last 3 years. So you guys' perspective is really unique and it's good. And it really supports what we've been talking about here. Jamez, maybe we'll start with you. Would you like to speak to some of the challenges that you've noticed in the industry, whether in your personal career or even business?
So I'm gonna hit a pain point for myself. First pain point probably came from COVID. COVID made everyone stop. The whole world stopped. And being a hairdresser and a salon owner, sometimes you have a tendency to get into a repetitive routine. You do the same thing, you have the same clients, and you're doing it over and over and over. And it becomes a rat, like you're a rat or a hamster in a wheel. It just keeps going over and over and over again. And you're trying to, make more money. You're doing price increases and you're doing all these things. Oh, let me learn this technique. Let me learn this style. But you never really break away. COVID provided an opportunity for people like myself, being a salon owner that's actually working in the business, to realize where your flaws are, because there was no room to do anything but just think and watch and pay attention. And after a while, you realize you kind of need to compartmentalize. You need to compartmentalize. Listen, separate. You have to learn how to separate your mind, so you can expand. And what I mean specifically about that, because I'm caught up on this word of compartmentalize, because it's not coming out right. Business is one thing. Creativity and technique is something totally different. Customer service is a third component. COVID made us realize all of this, and a lot of us has been working behind the 8 ball. And we didn't realize where we were. So in this rat race of trying to get ahead, you were never going to get ahead because you were already in your routine of being what you normally do. So imagine me being a salon owner for 10 years, going on 10 years. You're doing the same thing over and over and over. You may redo your salon. You may change the color or marketing in your branding, but have you really changed your mindset and really understand the difference between marketing, branding, and how you present it?
Yeah, I love that. And you hit home with that point, because the truth is, just because you're a good stylist or barber, it doesn't make you a good business person, right? Business is completely different from skill. Absolutely. You could be skilled at doing many things. It doesn't mean that you have what it takes to start, run, or own a business that can be successful and that you can reach the goals that you want to achieve. And COVID did make a lot of people wake up. Very true. Yeah, that's great insight.
Definitely.
Yeah. How about you, Ty? Anything similar that you experienced?
Yes, for me, and because I'm an educator, things I see beginner stylists struggle with is having business structure. So not having boundaries in place, not having policies in place, it leads to burnout. The boundary part, they letting clients text them all types of nights and morning, not standing on like their business hours. They just letting them communicate with them whenever they want to. And when you're doing that, you're up all night. You're not really getting your rest. You're taking time when you're supposed to be out with your family or on vacations to respond to clients. And that definitely leads to burnout because you don't have no set time for when you're supposed to stop. And then also for your policies, like dealing with cancellations or no calls, no shows, or people showing up late, not having those policies in place is like, man, what am I doing? Like, what are you doing? Am I like, I'm working for you now. You're not following what I'm following. So definitely policies and boundaries is like a challenge I see in the industry.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Like we don't have healthy boundaries, and we're doing all, we're eating while we're doing a client,
Yes.
or, you get Sunday night at 11:30, somebody's texting you, yeah, about 3 weeks from now, I'm going on this cruise, and I want to, like, come on, bro.
Yes, like you can wait a little bit in the morning when business hours open.
Yeah, exactly. 5 heartbeats moment, right? My business hours are.
Yes.
Yeah. We thank you for that input, because what you guys feel and experience is, unfortunately, it's not unique, because we're all going through those challenges, but a lot of times we just don't speak about it enough. And your perspective is great because educators, salon owner, and you're really speaking on that salon side of the industry, but we find that barbers are actually having some of the same challenges that you guys are experiencing. So we want to go ahead and turn our attention to another guest that we have coming in, Frank the Barber. Thank you, guys.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. So we'd like to take a moment to welcome in Frank the Barber. All right.
I'm honored to be here. I really like like what's going on. I like to share what my experiences has been for the last 27 years in the barber industry.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you. When I texted you and you said, "Hey, I could be in attendance," I was really happy about that. In fact, Quiana and Michelle specifically mentioned you by name, and I'm like, "Yo, I know Frank." So I know we share a group chat that we're in.
Yes.
I want to say, what do you want to title us in that group chat? Like,
when things happen.
Yeah. There you go.
When things happen. When things happen.
Yeah, there's like 20 of us, 20, I would say, premier barbers in the city. Everybody's got like 25, 30 years, 10-year experience, a lot of, and we share and communicate with each other. So
ups and downs. We lost a barber brother a couple months ago, and the group chat just blew up. And he was actually missing before we realized what happened.
Yeah, exactly. And that APB went out and everybody started using their resources. So, I bring that up to say that, we're a part of a community, and, I want to give you much credit and respect for what you do, the work that you do. 25 years in the industry. You're here in Northwest Philadelphia too. You've been barbering for some time, really reaching out and touching the community. And you had, you just were awarded something. You want to speak about that? What you were awarded recently?
I was awarded Content Creator of the Year, the beginning of last year.
Yeah.
With the what was that? It was the expo in California.
Yeah.
They reached out to me. They follow the work that I do, the different content with educating, bringing a different view to the barber industry with some laughter, and also the technology and the innovativeness of the industry that I try to bring to get the industry out to other people in different lights.
Yeah. That's why I got my alerts on for you. Like when you post, I get the alert. Like Frank just posts, because it's like it just breaks the monotony. Like you always have something to laugh about or something for me to think more deeply about, and that's really good. I know a lot of people enjoy that, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
But like we were talking about with the industry, the truth is there are a lot of shiny moments, but there's also some things, some rust that we might not see that's behind the scenes, or some challenges that we've been having. Can you share a thought, or do you feel the same way?
Yes, the balance of life and family is definitely the challenges. I had a challenge with family. I had a brother that was in a swimming accident early in my career. So with him and that being in the state that he was left in, paralyzed, unable to speak, and my mother took care of him. And I was there partly, but that was like the peak of my barbering career. But I had to put some things on hold to make sure that they were okay, make sure she was okay. And it slowed me down for a little bit, but my drive was still there. And I stayed home, make sure she was okay, make sure everything was okay until I was in my early 20s. Then I was like, okay, let me go out. She's like, go ahead, live your life. But she's like, always make sure you come and take care of him. I would cut his hair and hair with him and everything. Yeah. But that balance wasn't there. I was still feel like I wanted to journey into barbering, but then it was like I didn't want to leave the family. Yeah. I took a leap on faith and went into barbering. I didn't have my license in the beginning. I didn't have it starting. I didn't get my license until about maybe 7 years into cutting. And I finally got my license. I seen a different light. Yeah. I've seen a different light, but I was brought back to family after my mother passed. Yeah. So that balance was really difficult to deal with. My mother passing, taking care of him, and then me moving into my life with my family. So barbering, actually, when that happened, it sat me down. Yeah. It said, okay, barbering, family, brother. So not to have that burnout, I did have to step back. Yeah. Because I was in the shop for 12 hours straight. No appointments. 15 people waiting. Yep. Just going. And I said, no, I can't do this. Yeah. I can't do it. I have to structure myself. I have to say, okay, doors close at 7, last person at 6. Yep. I had to structure it. I had to do that to make sure I was able to be there for my brother, be there for my family, be there for myself. My time was traveling 20 minutes from the Northeast Philadelphia area all the way to Plymouth Meeting to cut his hair every Saturday once I left the shop after being in the shop 12 hours. That was my time. Yeah. But my time with him helped me as well. I was dated for at least 2 hours. Yeah. So I'm going home at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. But then once I realized, I said, okay, it's time for me to start structuring myself more. But with like you said, the group chat, the other barbers, the other stylists that I know, leaning on them, seeing how they had things structured, that helped me. And the barber community can be there for you, but you just can't, you can't just stand there and look at everybody. You have to reach out and be communicative to what's going on to help you structure yourself so you don't burn out. Yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you what, you're, really sorry about your losses. But I also want to thank you for sharing that. And I don't mean like in this moment right now. I mean, following your journey. Like I saw your post and I felt like you were sharing something very intimate. And it wasn't just about, hey, here's a joke or here's a great haircut. It was also, hey, I'm a human, and here's my brother. And you spending time with your brother. I would see all of your posts go up and I'm like, man, that was heavy right there. And, at the core of it, you're giving a service. We're barbers. But it was great to see that you were able to take the time out and try to be there for your family too. And that's a real challenge though. You're not, I'm sure you would agree, you're not the only one that is in this industry. I know other barbers and stylists too, just really trying to find that work-life balance. And it can be hard, really difficult to do. But man, we want to thank you for sharing that. You always share great content. It hits home. It's needed. It's very valuable. We really appreciate you, Frank. Thank you, man. Thank you. All right. I appreciate this. Thank you. All right. So as we can see, we all have had some challenges, some degrees of difficulty, not just the three of us. Quiana, can you speak to when we realized as a collective that this industry had an issue? It wasn't just our problem, but many of our peers and associates were dealing with the same challenges. You want to talk about that revelation that we had?
We had this revelation because we were working together on another project and we were teaching, and we were realizing that technique was not going to fix the problem. Price increases were not going to fix the problem. And we wanted to do something that could really bridge the gap of the problem. Another thing Jamesh just said is like, when you're an artist, sometimes it's like, okay, I want to be creative. I'm an artist, but business is still business. And we were like, okay, we want to let people be artists, but they need to also get their business in line. So the reason why I asked if I could be honest is because I just want to tell like the exact story. So I was home and I was like, I want to teach this class, and I know that I can't do it by myself, and I have a couple people in mind. And I was having this thought, and literally as I was having the thought, Satara called me and she said, Quiana, I had a dream that you were having a class. And I said, Satara, let me call you right back. And I called Michelle and Hassan and I was like, listen, this is what I think that we should do. And I want to put together this class, and I wanted to see like how we could come together and do it, because I think that we all have the same goals. So what was most important to us was us. So Hassan will always talk about how important his family was and how important it was to keep his marriage first, to keep his children first, to keep his spirituality first. Me and Michelle are girlfriends, so I already know how important motherhood is to her and how important her family is to her. And we realized like it might be a barber who's a single man who doesn't have children, or a wife that or their health is important to them. Or it might be a single woman who just being with her extended family, that's important to her. So we wanted to like help people be aligned with who they are. And we wanted to help people live still as artists, but understand how business works. And Michelle talked a lot about leadership. And we talked a lot about being beauty professionals, but they were artists. And then that's when we birthed Lead Like an Artist.
Yeah, Lead Like an Artist. I love the title concept right away. And then you know how Michelle be. She jizzed it all up and made it all pretty and started right away with a brand kit for us. But Michelle, you want to talk about that moment for you?
When we got together and started just kind of throwing out pain points, we had this laundry list of pretty much all the things that we were talking about, like things that the industry, we all struggle with, the structure, backbone, for lack of better words, and just kind of getting our time back. The fact that our industry is hustling all the time, and instead of being business owners. And when Quiana brought this to me, and Lead Like an Artist, just, it was like a no-brainer, because we're artists. As anyone that's a beauty professional, you're an artist. We're artists first. And that's why it's hard, because our craft comes first. But we're running businesses. We are running businesses. We are business owners. And the era before us, they were quote unquote mom and pop shops. So we didn't have that guidance. But Lead Like an Artist, when we came together, because of our stories and where we came from, we were like, we can translate for them. We can help change that narrative, because in our industry, what we need is more leaders.
Yeah, I remember you were really passionate about that. She kept telling us we need more leaders. We got to find leaders. There's leaders here. And, to touch on Quiana's point, that hit home for us. Like, I remember I was there for the conversations. We live on Zoom together at this point. Like, we done roomed up on Zoom. We've at this point, I couldn't begin to tell you how many meetings we had, how many phone calls we've had, how many classes we've taught together. I've taught with you guys more than I have with anyone else in my career now at this point. Because we've done so many events when you really think about it. But yeah, that title, Lead Like an Artist, is very intentional. And the reason why it fits for us is what you said, Quiana, is so true. There are a lot of great products that you can buy. Like this weekend, there's a huge international show in New York City. You can go in there, you can buy great products. You could take great classes. In the classes, you're going to learn new skills. The products, you're going to learn new techniques. There's competitions. You can become more award-winning. Like, you can do all of those things. But in itself, those things do not help you become more balanced, a better business professional. It doesn't help you create and buy back the time that you need right? Those are the issues. Like you said earlier, if we live in Philadelphia, this is one of the most talented cities that you can find for beauty and cosmetology, for barbering. So the skills are there, but oftentimes the business is not there. And that's what Lead Like an Artist is. What we're hoping, we know that Lead Like an Artist is not for everyone. It's not for everyone, but there are leaders. And there are people who are in our position, who are business owners, who have had successful careers, and they've reached a plateau where they feel the same way we feel. They feel that tension. And that's who we're signaling to through our messaging. And it's resonating with people. And I remember when we started getting that feedback and people were DMing us and calling us and reaching out, it just felt so good. It was like, wow, we've identified a problem, a real problem in the industry. We're giving it attention. And we just saw all these beacons go up with people who were speaking the same language. So, it's just been, great to talk about Lead Like an Artist. But let's talk about what we birthed. What came out of that? Because it's okay to have all these thoughts. That's cool.
Right.
Okay, we've identified a true issue and challenge in the industry, but we came up with something.
That is where the Artist Accelerator was born. We knew that artists needed structure. They need blueprints, just things that help you, like something on paper or just something like step 1, step 2, step 3. How do I get better at this? This is how you do it. Follow these rules and you'll get there. If you do the work, you'll get the answer. And we created what's called the Artist Framework. It's a 6-week course where we go over framework. We use the word artist, 1 letter for each week. And that helps you refine, define, transform, and really scale your business so that you can take off. And so you leave with a full blueprint. And I mean, the success stories so far, just a few months in, are just life-changing.
Yeah, definitely. We got, for those who don't know, we did our first cohort last year. We literally built the plane while we were flying it. like we jumped out the window. I sent them the emoji of the dude jumping out the plane. I was like, yo, we really, all right, y'all believe in this? Like we were just so passionate. We spent countless hours like building out that curriculum. When the framework came together, Quiana mind was going crazy. She was messaging us all the time about putting this framework together. So that acronym ARTIST is align, refine, transform, influence, scale, and then take off. So we figure like in 6 weeks, here are these core principles that business ownership be moving with. And I think nothing probably was more impactful for us than when we completed week 1 with the Artist Accelerator. We did week 1 and we had these conversations before the class started. It was like, hey, we're taking on a lot of responsibility, like trying to coach people, guide people through this process. We know what people need to do, but we're trusting them to take their hand, and we need them to come along with us on this journey. We have to be responsible about it. We can't just be irresponsible and just tell them to do things and leave them high and dry and stranded. So we realized that we had to take a step back. So the very first week was a super emotional week because it was about aligning and making sure that people in our industry are aware of what is inside, of who they are as individuals, and giving that attention to themselves. And think about what we talked about. We each had that need. I had that need. That was very important for me to just make sure that we added that in. And man, just the feedback that we got, and every week got better. Like it was just an amazing class, an amazing course. And these young ladies just went crazy with it. Quiana is a brainiac. She kept coming back to us with so many adjusted formats and formulas and strategies and concepts. And then Michelle, she just like really was breathing life into the program. She took on a creative design of the company and just really started building things out. We got our first brand partnership. We were so excited about it with the braid mill. They believed in what we were doing for business owners so much that they demanded that they partner with us and to support our project. And it was just like, man, confirmation, right out the window.
Yeah,
so
big time.
Yeah.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
I just want to add to what's so crazy is, so Michelle, she comes up with all the names. So she came up with Lead Like an Artist, and then she came up with the Artist Accelerator. So we already knew that we wanted to have a 6-week course. And we kept saying, we already knew that we wanted to have a framework. And we kept going over it and over it. And then Michelle said, artist is 6 letters. I was like, okay. So when we started to put the framework together, that was the aha moment. Mm-hmm. That was it. Because how is it that we came up with this name? We came up with this class. We already knew and had committed to a framework in 6 weeks. And then Michelle called us and said, artist is 6 words. That's our 6 letters. That's our framework. So can y'all just go with me for a minute in your mind? All right. First, get aligned. Who are you? Right? Now refine that into your business. Now you're aligned, is refined in your business. How are you going to transform? Now is I. Who are you going to influence? Now it's S. How are you going to scale? From there, you should be able to take off. We poured into that. Mm-hmm. Weeks, endless weeks. So I just wanted to break that down and thank you guys for that. Michelle really, really did that. And Hassan made sure that we were tight in everything that we did. He was such a big brother. He made sure that everything was right. We really worked hard.
Yeah. And we each brought things unique to the table, and it just fit well. And we had so many comments during the first round. I was like, wow, I see why y'all together. It was not too many people nerd out to the degree that we nerded out. We are definitely some nerds about it. Even people see the takeoff and the rocket and what all of that means. We're combining leadership, artist, and NASA. Yes. It's how did that? It's and people what is lead like a artist leads what are you talking about? And we come up with the Artist Accelerator. What does it mean? Well, listen, there is a reason for all of that, and coming to our classes really help paint a better picture. So last year was a great year. Let's talk about 2026. We already have an event that is already done. We did our first intensive. Michelle, again, coming up with the names for our events. Would you like to explain to them what our intensive is, what was done, and what they can expect this year?
Okay, so the intensives are things that we pulled out of the Artist Accelerator, because it's a 6-week course. You come in on a Monday, you learn, we have a full day, food.
Food was popping.
Yes. But it's a full day of intense learning. It's an accelerator, you're going to learn a lot. So each week we introduce something different. And as each week went along, we start pulling out things that we found needing something extra, something on the side. So we came up with the term intensives because they are a one-off of a full day or a half a day of one topic. So last month, we did our first intensive, and it was called Content Like an Artist. We had a full room of beauty professionals learning how to do content, and I'd say it was a huge success.
Yeah,
huge success, so. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
It was a great turnout, and the most important part is what people were able to take away, because we could see the value. We could see people using the knowledge that they got from the course. We could see the numbers going.
They were tagged. We had a special tag. They were tagging it. They were posting.
And the community.
Yeah.
The community. That part is important too. If you heard us talking earlier, each one of us grew from relationships. So community is everything. So we have more coming, more intensives to come. That was our first one, but we have some more rolling out. So.
Yeah, we have a couple more this year. We're not going to tease y'all and tell you, but we got a couple that we're working on right now.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And not only are there the intensives, we had our first cohort of the Artist Accelerator Quiana, would you like to tell us about the Artist Accelerator moving forward?
This year, we have our cohort 2, super excited, and that starts April 13th, 6 weeks. So super excited about that because as we go through and we get feedback from our students, we get to refine the messaging and we get to make it a little bit more tight every time. So April 13th, we'll be launching cohort 2 for the Artist Accelerator. Super excited to take this next level of professionals to their next level. Another thing is we're going to keep our cohorts small. We love the intimate setting. We love being able to have a small group of people because that's how we were able to build community. So that's another thing we take pride in is classes that don't get too big. We want to be able to have some one-on-one interactions with the students and really be able to help them grow.
Yeah, definitely. Quiana was really big on that, and it turned out to be great. So we actually had to vet all of our students, which was pretty fun, which meant more meetings. But we had individual meetings with each candidate, and we handpicked the candidates, and we couldn't ask for a better group. Yeah. It was a really good group. We had 16 students, and we're still in touch with them. There's some are here in the audience now. We're supporting one another, and I think they feel that too, that community and that genuineness that we have. And it's just been it's been great so far. So this year we're really excited. We're looking forward to just growing and developing more as a company and a brand. And I just want to say thank you guys, for making a sacrifice for your families too, and not being selfish and keeping it all for yourself, but being willing to jump out there and share with others, because that's something that this industry needs. More leaders, and you two have also proven to be leaders yourself. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
So if we haven't told you already, if any part of this conversation has resonated with you, we've worked very hard as Lead Like an Artist to identify the challenges within this industry. And this industry has uncountable challenges. Whether you're a barber, a hairstylist, makeup artist, wedding professional, it doesn't matter. We give day to day. We give to our businesses. We give to the people in our chair. We exhaust ourselves. We pour out. But the truth is we have to learn how to put back into ourselves, and we have to learn how to create more time for ourselves, which is important, so that we can pursue things that matter more, like our families, or perhaps the passion project that we put on the side. It's time to carve out some time to develop and do those things. It's also time to earn more money, to make more money. If you have your business skill up to par, you should be being compensated to the correct degree. And that's what we work really hard on, making sure that people are compensated, making sure that our time is good. But nothing probably more important than making sure that we scale our businesses. This industry is filled with hustlers. Hustlers in the kitchen, hustlers in the basement, hustlers in the garage, hustlers in the salon, hustlers on Broad Street. Like, we have done that. Hustling is okay, but if COVID didn't wake you up, it should have. Hustling isn't good enough. It's time to scale. It's time to grow. So at Lead Like an Artist, we want to continue to help beauty professionals grow. That's what we're about. And if this resonates with you, we want to encourage you to contact us, reach out. When you do, it will be either Quiana, Michelle, or myself who get back in touch with you. And we're looking forward to building along with you and making sure that not just Lead Like an Artist as a group has success, but we're trying to make sure that we all take off.